Hello, everybody. Welcome into Talking Fitchburg on this Thursday, June 24th, 2021. I'm Jeremy Crosby. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Glad you're tuning in with us for Talking Fitchburg this evening. Got a very busy show coming up for you. We got a lot to get to. We got a ribbon cutting to take you out to. We'll share that information here in just a moment. Plus, we've got our road construction update with Andrew McFadden. He'll be here to give us the latest on McKee Road. Big switchover coming as they've already finished or Fish Hatchery Road. They've already finished a piece of road there we want to tell you about coming up. And also checking with the fire department on some summer fire safety tips. So a lot to get to. We got to go. And we kick right into this with Swan Creek Monitoring Station ribbon cutting taking place yesterday. And if you didn't have a chance to be out there, we got it for you right now.
The USGS, our job is to collect data, turn that data into information, and then give that information to decision makers. So that's what this gauge is really designed to do. We're going to collect information and give it to you guys and let you use that information to manage the landscape the best you can. And we're really hoping that this station can be here well into the future, 10, 20 years from now, and we can see how things are changing over time. And we know that as humans, we impact the landscape, and we're going to be able to measure those impacts here at the station. And so with that information, then the city and the township and other people can make decisions on how best to move forward with progress, development, what have you.
And I really want to thank everyone who's been involved in this project. We've had so many people step forward to participate in this, to make this happen. This is going to be really valuable data. And so as we get that, I think that, to me, I was just impressed with how quickly people like the town of Dunn, the USGS, and others came forward and said, this is important, we want to help, because this is important. You've seen some of the changes in the environment and the impacts, and this data right here that we're going to collect will really help illustrate that. As we continue to grow and develop in the area, we want to make sure that we're not negatively impacting the environment.
It was absolutely my privilege to sponsor the budget amendment that got this funded last year. I am on the Resource Conservation Commission in Fitchburg, and Mike Piper of CARPC came and brought this issue to our attention, and we went into action and we talked to stakeholders, and everyone was on board. Everyone was on board to get this make this happen, and it's honestly one of the best things I've done since I've been here. I'm so proud to be here today. You know, Fitchburg is considered an environmentally friendly city, and this has been a missing piece of that environmental responsibility. You know, we have stormwater infrastructure that's meant to protect the environment, but unless we're collecting that data and finding out if we're actually accomplishing it, we don't know. And we can't make decisions as policymakers if we don't have good data.
We are very grateful that all these entities came together to put in this monitoring station. It is really a fantastic tool, as Todd mentioned, to measure the water quality and the different parameters that we use to evaluate, any changes that may occur in the Swan Creek watershed, whether it be due to construction, agriculture, or whatever. We're thankful for having this in place, and we really look forward to gathering, using this data to help make sound scientific and engineering decisions on what we do in the future, so we can protect this wonderful watershed that we have out here.
3.
I'm cutting?
Yeah.
Yay! I am honored. I really am.
All right, there you have it. We'll get that posted up online for you later today with our headlines. All right, other news, we've got some job openings to tell you about here at the city of Fitchburg. Neighborhood navigator, limited term employee for the planning and zoning department is in. Police chief, still looking for a police chief. Time's running out to get that application in if you're interested in that position. And public works utility maintenance seasonal also out there and available for you. Just head out to our website, fitchburgwi.gov, and we have our jobs page right there on the homepage for you. So check it out. Fitchburg Police Department announces Deputy Chief Matthew Leahy for the interim police chief. Yes, it says Deputy Chief Matt Leahy has been announced as the city's interim chief for the Fitchburg Police Department effective July 12th. Current Chief Chad Brecklin will be transitioning to a new role as the city administrator. Chief Brecklin is leaving after 22 years with the department. Mayor Aaron Richardson stated Deputy Chief Leahy has been a valuable member of the department for years. He'll do a great job leading the organization as interim chief while the search for a permanent chief and ensure the Fitchburg Police Department continues to provide excellent service to our residents. So if you see him, say hi and congratulations and thank him for all his great work he'll be doing here and that he has continued to do for the department. All right, looking for a different style of fireworks? I got one for you. Fitchburg Public Library's got this, fizzing fireworks. Check this out. On Wednesday, June 30th, head over to the Fitchburg Library's Facebook page to access a video on how to combine science with art to create some festive 4th of July fizzy fireworks. Fizzy fireworks. Starts at 9 a.m. Check it out on their social media page. It sounds like a lot of fun. Turn your attention over to the Fitchburg Senior Center. Social work picture for you, an update. If you're having difficulty with essential daily activities, call the Fitchburg Senior Center and ask to speak with a social worker. They are happy to talk through your concerns over the phone, and if necessary, and circumstances permit, can arrange a home visit. In-person appointments at the Fitchburg Senior Center are also available. You must call either Amy Jordan at 270-4295 or Sarah Falkers at 270-4294 to schedule an appointment. Walk-in appointments are not available at this time. All right, as we close out our headlines, want to remind you this, close before you doze. Yeah, this is part of staying safe out there from our friends at the Wisconsin State Fire Inspector Association, saying closing those doors before you go to sleep can ensure and potentially even save you some damage if there is a fire. What we've learned is during a fire, closed door can make a difference between 1,000 degrees and 100 degrees because you're cutting off the oxygen supply to the fire. So damage can be limited to the space that it's in. Not saying that that's going to change total outcome of it, but in some circumstances, definitely making sure you have your doors closed at night at different parts. I know I live in a tri-level, so I try to close the basement door and the door going between the I don't know, we call it the second basement to our main floor, but either way, it works out really well. And again, could prevent fire from spreading. All right, we're going to take a quick break. Coming up next, we're going to talk more fire safety with our friends from the Fitchburg Fire Department next right here on Talking Fitchburg.
We're exercising at the Fitchburg Senior Center. We do aerobics, balance, strength training, posture. We want you to stay healthy and strong and exercise. Keep on being fit.
There's a shelter pet who wants to meet you. Meet one today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org. Adopt.
Welcome back into Talking Fitchburg. Joined today from the Fitchburg Fire Department, it is our educator, our friend, our family, Adam Dorn. Welcome back to the show. How you doing?
Thanks, Jeremy. I'm doing well. How about you?
I am awesome, and I'm ready to talk about campfire safety and a little bit of grill safety. We talked a little bit about it earlier in the month, but we wanted to make sure that we kind of tie all these together because might go hand in hand. You might be grilling and might do a campfire, grilling, then campfire, grill, whatever the combination. We want you to stay safe. And first and foremost, by no means are we encouraging anybody to have campfires, and there are rules in place here in the city for campfires, and that's probably where we should start, Dorn. In general, if somebody does want to do a campfire in the city of Fitchburg, how can they achieve that?
That is an excellent question and an excellent place to start. So in the city of Fitchburg, the only areas that you are allowed to have an open fire is outside of the urban service area. So as you'll see on the map, it's the area that is outside of where all the development is basically. In that area, you can have open fires. You do need to call the fire department to get a burn permit. Burn permits are free, but they are only good for the day that you are calling. So if you call today, you can get a burn permit for today, but you cannot get one for tomorrow. You have to call tomorrow. Inside of the urban service area where all the development is, there are no open fires or no campfires allowed, so to say, right? However, if we have a recreational fire pit, one that has a spark arrestor over the top, something that's somewhat enclosed like with a mesh, that is allowed, but you still need to call for a burn permit. And it's more for the fact that we know where there's a fire in the neighborhood. So if we get a call for smoke in the neighborhood or the smell of a fire, we are at least aware that something is going on in the area. There are numerous rules that are set forth by NFPA that the city has adopted, such as if we're doing a recreational fire pit, you need to be about 25 feet away from anything that could, any structure, anything that could burn. So that kind of limits where people can put these recreational fire pits. Just something to be aware of. All of those rules can actually be found on our city website. We'll make sure you guys get a copy of that too. And so those are some of the real basic things about what you can do and where you can do it. The other thing to think about is that when you use a fire pit or you're burning stuff, you can only burn clean wood. So sticks from the yard, that would be considered clean wood. If you have cut off lumber from a construction project, you could use that as long as it's not treated or dyed.
All right, Dorn. Well, that's good information. No, glad we're clarifying that, that you need that to have the fire. Turning our attention to cleanup and also going with if you're doing grilling with a charcoal, a specific message that I want to make sure you repeat and the steps in doing so. Whether you're having a fire or grilling, disposal of things can be tricky. So let's start on the grill side of things. If you're going to remove, you're done with the charcoal grilling, what would be the next piece that you would want to do for disposal?
First thing is let it cool. Let it cool down in your grill. Give it a few hours. 6-12 hours is always good. 24 is even better. Do that. And then after it's cooled down, you can take your charcoal, your ashes out of that, but then put it into another bucket with a lid. By doing that, you're going to give yourself some more time to make sure everything's completely cooled down before you dispose of it. A lot of people that we've been to for fires have taken those coals or the ashes, put it into plastic bags and put them in their garbage bins. That leads to fires because there's a lot of heat that is retained in those ashes or those coals for quite some time. That's why we recommend if you put it in the metal bucket, put a lid on it, and leave it sit for 48 to 96 hours, then you should be able to dispose of it in the garbage if you want to. I've also seen and heard other people using those ashes and putting them in their gardens to give some more nutrients to their plants that they have. So a couple different options that are out there. But either way, the big thing, make sure you let it cool down. We don't want people to be burned by these ashes.
And then on the same front, for the portable campfire recreational unit, so you're at the end of the night, a lot of people might just leave it, walk away like, well, it'll burn itself out. I've said it myself. I'm guilty of it 100%. I live out in a very rural area. I have a campfire pit thing and, I'm like, well, let's let it burn out. And every time I've done that, I've ended up going back outside almost every time and putting water on it because it just drives me crazy to think if something were to happen and I just would feel devastated. So what would be the recommendation on that front?
Yeah, absolutely. I've been there too, Jeremy. I've done the we'll just let it burn out. No, you actually did the right thing. You should go back. You should stay there, keep an eye on it until it is out, or put it out. You take it to some water and get it, cool all the coals down so that there's no possibility that it could reignite. And maybe you have pets or kids go out, right? We don't want them to fall into it, get close to it, and get burned. By putting it out before you leave, that is the best way to handle that.
Yeah, definitely something you got to think about when doing it. And then as far as if you are enjoying a campfire, the distance around a campfire for kids, people, pet, the whole thing, keeping it safe so you can avoid burns or worse. What would you have for recommendations?
Yeah, we like to think about keeping at least 3 feet away from that campfire. Just like in the kitchen, we want people to be 3 feet away from any of the cooking devices in the kitchen. Same thing applies outside for the campfires or grills. Keep 3 feet away. It lessens the chance of you being burnt or anybody else. One of the things that always kind of comes up is like, well, what about when we want to make s'mores and roasting marshmallows, right? Don't we have to be closer than 3 feet? Well, sometimes you have to, but if you're going to roast marshmallows, always remember, don't let young children do it by themselves. Help them. They can be there helping you, but maybe you're the one that's holding the stick or the device that the marshmallow is on that you're browning it on. There's a lot of different things that could happen, as in maybe if they have a metal skewer and they got marshmallows on the end of it and they get to be on fire, and all of a sudden you don't want them on fire, and then they start whipping them around, and now you have flaming marshmallows flying through the air. And the last thing you want is that flaming marshmallow to land on somebody or a pet and then burning them. That would be absolutely awful. Know how you're going to handle those situations before they take place. Some of the other things to think about is that I know I've got many friends that have campfires as well, and they like to participate in a couple adult beverages as they're around the campfire. But make sure you also have people that are responsible to keep an eye on others, so that not everybody's consuming those adult beverages. Because if somebody has too much, have them move further away to keep them safe. You're there to look out for each other, keep each other safe.
All right, it is important, and I was going to comment too that you might have to go to a specialty camp store or outdoors place, but they do make pretty large metal skewers things. That's what we have for our family, and we still don't let the kid, we're holding it long enough where you can kind of hold on with them, but then after they're done, we're like, all right, hand it back. Like, don't even take that chance because of the metal end. It still heats up, and it's amazing how hot fires can get. And I don't need to tell you that by any means. Finally, just on quick other grilling safety tips or cooking safety tips related to fires and keeping it safe, whether it's the distance, keeping the grill clean, any other suggestions to have a fun summer without fire?
Yeah. Never use gasoline or other flammable combustible liquids to start a fire, whether it's in your grill or a campfire. Also, always have something that you can use to extinguish a fire if you need to, like a hose, bucket of water, shovels, sand, or dirt. Make sure that's there so that you can put a fire out if you need to. And probably the one thing we all remember from fire safety talks when we were kids is that what to do if your clothes catch on fire, right? You want to stop what you're doing, drop to the ground, cover your face with your hands, and roll on the ground until the fire is out. Just continue to roll all the way over, just like a log. Yell, scream if nobody else is around that you're hurt, you need help, whatever it might be. If you are burned, cool it right away, cool it with cool water, and call 911 to have us come out there and take care of you.
All right, Adam, always appreciate all the great tips that you have for us, and thanks for taking the time, and we'll hope everybody has a safe and fun summer when it comes to outdoor recreation. Dorn, we'll catch up with you real soon. Thank you for your time.
Yep, thank you, Jeremy.
Appreciate it. Adam Dorn, Fitchburg Fire Department. Check the website. A lot of great resources out there for anything related to fire safety. Take a quick break, more to come. You're watching Talking Fitchburg.
There's a shelter pet who wants to meet you. Meet one today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org. Adopt.
Honorary Forest Ranger Betty White here, lending a hand to my dear friend Smokey Bear. Because for 75 years, he's only said,
only you can prevent wildfires.
But there's a lot more to say. Like, if you park your car on tall, dry grass, the hot exhaust pipe can start a wildfire. So keep the animals safe, especially the cute shirtless one. Go to SmokeyBear.com to learn more about wildfire prevention.
Welcome back into Talking Fitchburg. Joining me today from our Public Works Department, it's Andrew McFadden. Andrew, welcome back to the show. How are you doing today?
Hi, Jeremy. Good.
Good to hear. We've got a lot to get to today. We'll be focusing mainly on the Fish Hatchery Road project, but we'll touch on the Highway 14 bridge work because that is affecting some nightly road closures that we'll want to tell you about. But first, overview, where are we at with the Fish Hatchery Road project at this point?
Sure, yeah. So we're getting really close to switching over this week. And you'll see that the pavement's done. That got finished up earlier this week. They're doing some restoration, some signing, so a little bit of work on some of the street lights and some wiring those up. We're getting some temp markings down here in the next few days. And then we had a little bit of an issue with one of our signal pole arms up there, Caddis, and so that's getting reinstalled. So a few kind of buttoning up items this week, and then I guess the big thing coming next is the switch over on Monday. So
what time will that be taking place, Andrew? I know it's kind of
sure. We're not sure quite yet with some of the rain. It has to be dry before we can put the pavement markings down. So it just really depends on how much we can get done today, tomorrow, and over the weekend. So we'll see, but definitely at some point on Monday, we'll be switching over. So, and we have some construction signs up there, some variable message signs that are kind of showing or telling folks 28. So we're going to stick to that, and we should have everything ready to go.
Yeah, it looks great. I mean, I think they got a good early start this year, and it looks great. So we wanted to focus this week a little bit on the next part of this project, because there's quite a bit of intersections on this one, and that's going to cause a little bit more, I don't want to say delays, but because that's not the right word, but there'll be some temporary closures on and off, and so we want to walk through that, Andrew, and you're going to show us some of that today through what will be happening here coming up. So share that screen. Let's see what you got.
Sure. So can you see that?
I can see it.
Awesome. So I guess first let's talk on the south side. And so, I'll be uploading this as part of our construction update on the website. So certainly, if you don't see it, if you can't see everything right here, we'll have that on the website. So feel free to zoom in. But there's a lot going on here. You can see that, at the same point, basically down at Brendan, we'll be switching traffic over to use the other side. So now we'll be working on those west side lanes, the southbound lanes. And so, here's the pedestrian path. So we'll have, a bus stop in this location with kind of a crossover there. But we are kind of shutting down, for the most part, any pedestrian crossings at the McKee intersection itself. Really, it was just, it was going to be tough to manage those turning volumes and some of those conflicts with pedestrians. So right now the detour is, we're working on all the pedestrian facilities on the west side. So we're shifting everything over to the east side. So, you can take the bike ped bridge over the intersection going both ways to kind of connect in. And so, if you're coming from the west, you're moving east, then you kind of go up the trail path here, cross over, go around the loop, and then continue south and then cross over that way. So it is a long detour. If you're really coming from the west, I urge you to cross over at the signal at Chapel Valley. I know it's going to be inconvenient for folks, but I think really this is just the safest way. There's a lot of queuing vehicles at during peak hours, and we really don't want people to get lost in this in some of these turning movements. So I guess that's the big news there. And so we'll be closing down a big section of the intersection there to try to get the new right turn lanes in there and all that stuff that you see kind of laid out now, but we'll be finishing up that work. And then going up to Cahill. So you saw that this week, we got some of those islands out. So now you can actually get through and it's not the right turn prohibition. Those are going back in, so don't get too used to that. But we want to open up some space during construction so that we can close down a portion of the intersection. So in Cahill's case, we'll be shifting traffic to the south side. So we'll still have pedestrian access available there, but we'll be working on that north side because in kind of future stages, we'll be closing down either Cahill or High Ridge. We'll have one of those open at all times, but when we close that down fully for 12 days, that'll be totally closed down. So we're trying to get it in there early to get some stuff done while we can and still preserve traffic. So it's kind of a compromise to try to get some work done while not cutting off access for folks. And so that, I guess, so Going in next week, you'll start to see these closures or these, kind of partial closures, and some of this traffic shifted. And then moving further north, so Caddis is going to remain open at all times. That's the signalized intersection. And then, but we will be shifting traffic to the north side, and so we'll be down to 1 lane going eastbound, whereas right now it has 2. So we are trying to work on a signal timing there to make sure that we're going to keep it, moving pretty freely. But we're certainly balancing traffic on Fish, so it's a tough balance, and hopefully this will be as painless as possible. So you'll see, along this whole stretch, that west side, pedestrian facilities are closed, the lanes are closed. We're shifting all of that to the east side, along with the bus stops. We have some detailed information in the update about how those bus stops work, but you can kind of see where they're at on the diagram. And then on that north side, similar to where the crossover is now on Traceway, we'll be kind of switching that so that folks will transition there. And then at some point, probably later in July, after we make sure that the traffic has switched over and we're comfortable with turning the signal on, we'll probably be turning that signal on at Traceway at that time. So we want to make sure that we get the switch ready and get everybody used to that before we turn on the signal and make sure it's safe. So with that, I know there's a lot there. Like I said, we'll be putting this online. So if anybody has any questions, feel free to reach out to me or Jesse, and all of our contact information is up on the website. So.
Perfect. Yeah, I appreciate it. I think it's good information, and we'll keep discussing it as the construction updates go on. So as things are happening at each of those intersections, we'll remind people. I think the Fish Hatchery Road and no, I'm drawing a blank here. McKee Road, that intersection, if you've been through there as it is with construction, it's a lot of traffic now in that area. And not that it wasn't before, but I think the safest of pedestrians and motorists for the temporary pedestrians, those access points moved away is going to be okay. So appreciate you breaking that down really quick. If you want to jump over to McCoy Road, that Highway 14 bridge work going on, but that is affecting some nighttime lane closures for us. Tell us about that.
Sure. Yeah, that project is still ongoing. And there's some nighttime closures there while they're working on the bridge, closures from 7 p.m. to 5 a.m. So I know it's tough to remember that, it's open during the day and then you might get stuck. So just bear in mind, I don't know how long those are going to last, but I would expect for the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, they're getting that surface off of there. It's pretty crazy. So you don't want to be driving underneath
Right.
anyways, because some pretty big boulders there. All right, Andrew, thank you so much for your time. We'll check in with you next week.
Awesome. Thanks, Jeremy. Have a good one.
You as well, Andrew McFadden from our Public Works Department. We'll continue our construction updates each week as we want to keep everybody up to date on what's happening there in Fish Hatch and all of our road construction. Take a quick break. More to come. You're watching Talking Fitchburg.
Cuando estaba en crianza temporal, nunca sabía cuándo me iba a tener que mudar, así que siempre tenía mi maleta lista. Y un día me adoptaron. Mis nuevos padres me abrieron sus corazones y su hogar. Ellos me cocinan mi desayuno favorito todas las mañanas. Mis padres me llevan a viajes que jamás pensé podría ir. Me dieron un hogar y una mejor excusa para usar esa maleta. Mis padres no son perfectos, pero son perfectos para mí.
Some chores you dread. You do them, but that doesn't mean you're happy about it. Then there's registering with the Selective Service. If you're a young man turning 18, the law says you have to register. It'll keep you eligible for college loans, government jobs, and training, and it only takes 2 minutes, which makes it not only your most important chore, but the easiest. When you turn 18, register at sss.gov or the local post office.
Well, welcome back into Talking Fitchburg. Wrapping up the show for the day, I want to thank my friend Andrew McFadden from our Public Works Department on our construction update, and of course Adam Doran with the summertime fire safety tips. We've got more fire safety tips, including talking about fireworks safety. Yeah, we'll be breaking that down here with Adam Doran coming up later this month. As we wrap up, remember you can stay connected with Fact TV. It's easy, fast, fun, free. What else can I say?